There's a moment, a single moment, when a woman finally realizes she has been dimming her own light just to keep other people comfortable. And once you see this moment, you can't unsee it. You can no longer be the woman who abandons herself. And what's crazy is so many women don't even realize when the shrinking is happening because it's not dramatic. It doesn't show up and make some grand announcement like, hey, I'm shrinking and I'm gonna be kicking it with you for a while. It often shows up and it looks practical. It looks like you being responsible or even polite. Maybe it shows up and it looks like you being understanding or being low maintenance or even just being flexible. It looks like you showing up to do the right thing. Well, at some point, you start to realize how heavy it is to be carrying around everyone else, helping them navigate all of their situations and circumstances. Meanwhile, this whole entire time, you have been slowly and quietly walking away from you and leaving you behind. That's the moment that changes everything. But don't worry, friend. I got you. I'm Letitia, your encourager in chief, and I want to officially welcome you into your main character era. Ooh, friend. Welcome, friend. I'm so happy to have you here because this is the identity shift that transforms everything. It changes your boundaries, your confidence. It shows up in your success, and it even changes every area, every single trajectory of your entire life. It's all wrapped up in this, friend. So, before we get in, because I know I get so excited talking about main character eras and energy and all the things, friend. But before we get started, I want you to just take a breath and hear me with your whole heart when I say this. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed, and that's not what we are here to do at all. Main character energy is all about remembering. It's about remembering who you are at your core, at your heart's center. You see, I understand what it's like to live this life. And if you've been living, friend, we have not gotten here unscathed. We have not gotten here with some bumps, bruises, and some wounds, okay? We have gotten here and we have all of the bruises to show for it. So I truly understand that, life can do its thing. But before life showed up and handed you its list of demands and expectations, before it started piling on and covering up your innate brilliance, there was you with your beautiful heart. So, main character energy is all about dropping out of your head and into your heart and remembering exactly who you are and who you are designed to be. So, a quick note, I'm a God's girl, so I do reference God quite a bit. However, or I shouldn't even say however, what I'd also like to say is that all are welcome here. This is an inclusive space. So if God is not your jam, no worries. I got you. You can feel free to insert the source or the universe or whatever your spiritual beliefs are, because this isn't about me and my spiritual beliefs. This is about you and your spiritual beliefs and connecting back to the essence of who you are, which is love. So, as I'm a God's girl, and I will be referencing that in this space, feel free to insert your own spiritual beliefs into that space. Because what's important is that we all have our own set of beliefs that there is something greater than fear. There is something bigger than just this space that we occupy together as humans. There's something bigger than us. So, whatever that is for you, feel free to insert that wherever you feel the need to. Okay? Okay. One thing I'd like to mention is the supporting role trap because so many women find themselves living out their life as a supporting character in their own story. It can look like the waiting season, waiting to be chosen, or waiting for things to change, or waiting for someone to come along and grant you permission to finally live your own life. So, what is that waiting season for you? Where do you find yourself still waiting to be chosen when you can just choose yourself? Or where do you find yourself saying yes? It's like your knee jerk reaction when deep inside your body is screaming, no, get me out of here. Where are those shrinking moments showing up for you? Now, story time. It would not be fair if I did not share with you a little bit about my story and my moment when I realized that I was shrinking in my life. Now, the first time that this happened to me, I found myself 20 something, divorced, single mom of two with a baby on each hip. And I was standing there like, I mean, how did we get here? You know what I mean? How did this happen to me? What is this? So I asked a lot of the same questions that we ask a lot of times when we find ourselves in a place that we know we ain't got no business being. I asked myself those low level questions like, why me? And questioned even if I was enough. But those were really not the right questions to be asking because it wasn't that things were happening to me. We all know the good old adage, it's happening for me, right? So once I got out of that space of the low vibration questions and I raised up my vibration, I started to wonder things like, who was I going to become as a result of the things that I have experienced? And at that point in my life, as a young woman, now being a single mom and trying to raise these kids, I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this, right? And I thought that that was going to be the ultimate lowest point of my life. And well, you know how life is. Life is like, girl, you thought that was bad. Okay, let me show you a thing or two. Okay, I'm sorry. I digress. I get silly sometimes, but we're good with it. But life started doing its thing in an ultimate way, right? And we suffered a great loss in our family. My granny passed away. And sometime not too long after, my mom passed away. And when my granny passed, it was a huge blow to our family because she was like the foundation of our family. Everything was grounded and rooted in her. So we didn't know what to do really as a family and how to get our footing back after she passed. But after my mom passed, I can't even tell you. My mom was like the frame. She was like the house. So I had no house and no foundation, is where I felt like I was at in my life. And I was super duper close with my mom. She was 15 years old when she had me on her birthday. So I used to tell her, I'm the gift that keeps on giving. Okay. But I grew up with my mom, and she was my best friend. She was my everything. And without her, I really just didn't even know who I was without her. And that was truly the hardest time of my life, because here I was, a single mom without my mom or without my granny, the two women who were the pillars of my life. And they had the nerve to leave me here with these kids. Like, how dare they leave me here to raise these kids? What? Okay, listen, I apologize because I can't take nothing serious, but no, really. What were they thinking? But in all seriousness, it was the most difficult time of my life. I did not know who I even was without my mom. And throughout my grief journey, it was the first time in my life that all of the things that I used to use to cope and, get myself back on track, none of those things worked. Not none of it. I was the pick yourself up by the bootstraps and keep it pushing kind of girl. And that had exited stage left even. It was gone. That was not around at all. I could not just pick myself up and carry on. Thank the heavens, I was sent a grief counselor, and she saved my life. If it wasn't for her meeting with myself, my children, my family, I don't even know how I would have made it through that particular time of my life. And even before those losses, I was already dealing with being a single mom and trying to get myself back together. And I didn't want to just be a single mom for the rest of my life. I wanted to get remarried, and I was on the search for love, and I was dating desperately. Yes, heavy on the desperately. I was dating desperately for over a decade and really struggling to try to find somebody. The streets were terrible, okay? Pee infested and everything. But I thought that was the hardest thing that I would ever go through. It paled in comparison to the losses that I suffered later on when my granny and my mom made their transition. But that time now is so precious to me because for the first time, I wasn't like looking for love, which I thought was outside of me. For the first time in my life, I was looking for me. I was looking to get reconnected to me, to figure out who I was, because at that time I felt lost. And what I know now is I wasn't lost. I had just gotten disconnected from the best of who I am. And I hope you, hearing my story, can take a moment to just think about for yourself where you might have felt lost in your own life or life circumstances. But maybe you just weren't lost, you were just disconnected from the best of who you are. And that, my friend, is what we will work on together. Now, I happen to be a firm believer that nothing, and I mean nothing, goes to waste. Even those times where you are broke down to your brake pads, even those moments can be some of the most powerful, life changing moments of your life. And while the pain masks that big lesson, or the perspective of being able to see it that way, I think that that's the gift of time and getting some distance away from those things that hurt us so deeply at one point. Because the gift that we get from those things is that we get to decide, we get to figure out who we want to be in spite of those things, who we want to be regardless of what has happened or how someone or life has treated us. We get to decide who we become. And that is where your power is, friend. It truly is. That's where your power lies. So here's your main character shift. Identity creates behaviors, and your behaviors create results. So you see, it's not about shrinking and keeping other people comfortable. It is about you owning your identity and who you truly are. It is about you reconnecting back to your heart because there is that voice that's whispering to you that you are made for more. There is that voice telling you that this can't be it. That's your identity calling you forward. That is your identity reminding you you are worthy. You are enough. You were made for more than what life is currently presenting to you. Hmm. Now, that's main character energy right there. Okay. So, friend, this is not about flipping a switch or changing everything in your life overnight. No, 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 no. We're here. We're going to be doing this work together. This is about you deciding in those small moments that you are the main character of your life. And when you find yourself in those moments where you might normally shrink, that you pause and realize you have a choice to stand up and be the main character of your life. So, friend, I hope that you loved today's episode. You can't wait to continue to do more. So, in the meantime, if you just can't wait for the next episode, make sure you get yourself your main character confidence checklist. It is your free step by step guide to help you get back connected to you and stepping into your true identity as the main character in your life. And make sure that you subscribe because tomorrow's episode, we are exposing the confidence con so that it can't continue to sabotage you for any more years of your life. So, until then, I'll see you soon, friend, and I'm sending you great big virtual hugs. See you soon.